Grace and peace, family. I hope everybody's feeling blessed today. All right, so I am flying with no notes, no pen, no paper, no pad. All I got is a message, and I gotta get it out because God says so. So it is what it is. Now, this one is going to be a deep one because this is the area where a lot of people do not want to touch. I'm touching it. I'm touching all over it today, right? So we're gonna entitle this message "Family Feud." The war on your bloodline. Now, why is this message so important for me to get out right now? Why? Because God said it is already on your heart. I woke up with it in my spirit, and He said, many of you guys need to know this. And you need to understand where you are in life, accept it, move forward, but also know what it is. Because knowledge is power. As you are knowledgeable, you're able to move in the appropriate manage. Hold on. Let me put my phone on D&D. All right, we on D&D and we ready to go. All right, so I know many of you guys who watch my content maybe know me from before my spiritual awakening. So you're like, oh my gosh, we know Jen. She's so different. No, you know that part of Jen. You don't know this new Jen. So until you actually make contact with this new Jen, hi, how you doing? I'm Jen Simone. It's nice to meet you. Let's get into this. Now, you also know, obviously, I came from a family, right? I had a mama, some sisters, a brother or two. Where they at, though, right? Now, they are nowhere to be found, at least not in my current lifestyle. And the reason is because I had to release every single last person from my old lifestyle in order to move into who I am now. Now, is that a negative thing? No, it is not. And it is yet the hardest thing for everyone to be able to do. This is why Jen is growing and flowing and glowing, because she's not attached to anything that is going to bring her down. She is a hot air balloon without any sandbags. Honey girl flying. Let's get into this. Now, why do I not have my family members close? Why am I not close-knit with them the way I used to be? I grew up in a black family, right? You know, black families, they rock together forever. They go through drama, they make up and break up, and it continues on. Now, that is a generational curse and a pattern. One that I could never really get with. When you finally do read my manuscript, you'll understand that from childhood, I just did not fit in. Not to mention, felt very much like an outsider. Talk about being born a black sheep. Didn't even know that sheep could be black in the first place. Then I had to become an adult and be like, was I the black sheep the whole time? Yes, Jen, it was you. You were the black sheep. Yeah. You were just trying to bleach your hair so that you kind of fit in. But no, you didn't. Now, why would I have the need to completely get rid of all of my family members? The reason is because I had to realize that the idea of family meant being used. It meant forgiving, even though you were being completely disrespected in every way possible. It also meant continuing to attach yourself to those who mentally, emotionally, physically did not mean you any well. Now, we're not going to go into too many details. If you know, you know. And if you've done what you've done, you know what you've done. So we just going to leave it as that. Now, is Jen in any way saying that she could not have maybe handled other things very differently? Very well could have. I'm human. Yeah, I'm spiritual, but I'm human. Could have did things very different. But things played out the way that they were supposed to. And that is where we get into the acceptance factor. I had to understand that even though I loved each and every one of my family members, I did not know these people. I did not. From childhood all the way through, I did not know these people. I learned in my adulthood, in my 30s, that most of the ones who were the closest were actually the ones who probably hated me the most. And then the ones that I held on to the tightest were the ones who wanted to see me fail the hardest. And I mean deep dive fail. It's one thing for you to stick out your foot and trip a friend. It's another thing for you to 100% set up a stage attack so that person falls into a ditch. And then, if anything happens, you're like, oh, I can't believe that happened. Yeah, it was more like that. So, I had to understand that my love for others did not fit where I was placed. And when I talk about strategically happening, it was supposed to happen that way, and that's why acceptance is important. I hate no one. I blame no one. Everyone played the role that they were supposed to play in my life. From my mom, to my sisters, to my brother, to my ex-husband, everyone played their role. And they played it so beautifully. Because had they not been who they were to me, at me, for me, I could not be me. So I thank you for the betrayals, for the disrespect, for the negative wishes, for you not wanting to see me to succeed, because if I succeed, it meant you failed, when in all actuality, if you really would have blended with me, my success would have been yours as well. I digress. Do I feel negatively toward any of my family? The truth is no. I wish you all well. I hope this video actually touches all of you. I wish you all well. I wish each and every one of you success. Like I said, I've been out here breaking these generational curses, slaying these spiritual demons on purpose. Why? Because your children do not deserve to have these same generational curses on them. They don't deserve to have to feel like they are going to get in relationships that are going to make them feel worthless. That they are going to have to rebuild themselves at 35, 40 years old because they weren't taught how to be self-sufficient in a way that was going to help them net most of the things that they need in life. No one deserves that. And it takes for someone to stand up to decide that they're not going to do that for it to happen. I definitely felt that way when it came to my children. And guess what? I feel that way when it comes to yours as well. So do I feel any of you have done me wrong? No. You did exactly what you needed to do. So if you outcasted me, if you, like I said, betrayal, if you attempted to disrespect me, slandered me, you told people how terrible I am, and anyone who knows me knows I'll give the shirt off my back. In some cases, I've literally taken my socks off and give them to homeless people. So if you know me, you know. I love you all. But staying attached to you meant that I was not loving myself. And this is something that I need everyone else to understand, not just my family. Just because you are tied to someone by blood does not mean you stick around to be depleted. We are born into this life to learn. You're born and placed into the families that you are born into to learn. They're there for either guidance, to show you some new things, and to teach your soul areas that you need to develop in. And it takes lifetime after lifetime after lifetime coming back for you to be able to learn these things about yourself. Now, of course, I love when people try to hit me with the Bible. It says, honor thy mother and father, right? Misused very, very commonly. Honoring thy mother and thy father. My Father, God above, will always be honored. And my mother, Mother Earth, will always be honored. When you understand what Scripture is actually telling you, not the generic idea that they're placing within it and telling you they understand the Bible more than you and you have to believe what's being told. No. When you understand it for self, when you live it, when you walk through it, you understand that the Lord does not place you in positions to disrespect yourself. Because if we are oneness and we are connected to God, you allowing yourself to be disrespected is you, in a sense, disrespecting God. That is not a given. And it's definitely not something that the Lord would encourage. I've talked even about, being slapped on the other cheek. See, no, it's not necessarily a physical slap, because no one would slap you twice. They wouldn't dare. But when we talk about being slapped on the other cheek, it's understanding that allow people who are going to disrespect you, allow them to be them. Because it says more about them than it does you. Your ability to maintain your balance within love, light, and respect is always going to be honored and given grace by the Father. But someone else's inability to operate in that direction will net them karma every time. And the Lord gives you a chance to either allow yourself to fall in the realm of dharma or karma based on your actions. So I never feel offended when somebody disrespects me, because they really are disrespecting themselves. You're adding to a level of karma that you never even deserve to have. I actually feel terrible for people who add to their own karma, because it shouldn't have to be that way. These are lessons that should have been taught from very young, lessons that you have to learn and fix so that you can stop netting yourself so much negativity that comes in and start blooming out of the positivity. So this message is definitely a thank you to everyone who played a role in my development. But it's also a free yourself to those who are stuck in family dynamics that are depleting them and taking from them and not allowing them to grow. Replant yourself. Now, the last thing I'm going to say is that in that replanting is where you're really going to bloom. You can have a flower that sits in the sun and it not grow properly, and then you move that flower to another place which is still getting sun, but now it is happy and it is growing, it is flowing. That's what happens when you really prioritize your own healing, your own movement. By me focusing on myself, I was able to grow. By me pulling my energy back from situations that no longer served me, that were there to take from me, that had me so energetically depleted that I was ill. Because if you know, you know. 10 full years, chronic asthmatic, in and out the hospital for 2 weeks at a time. On a machine that had to breathe for me several times. I mean, you don't even know the story about me dying last year. We're not even going to go that far. GERD. Couldn't sleep laying down. I had to sleep sitting up for over the last 8 months. All of it is gone because I released my stress. And this is what happens when you actually heal. There is no more stress. Stress kills you way faster than anything else. Get rid of the stress and you get rid of the problems. And sometimes the problems are the ones you're trying to keep around. Know what you need and allow God to help you figure it out. Because really, by going to God, He'll show you who people are. I know things about deeds people have talked about and done about that I was not present for. And it's because God needs me to know. He needed me to know just how bad it was so that when I walked out the door, I never came back. Take your time, but understand where you're going. If you're someone looking for peace, peace is going to be found on the other side of the you that was made to stay low. I'm going to let this reach wherever it's going. Love and light, y'all. And peace.